Here we are at example 4 from our 4.4 set of notes. We're asked to solve this by factoring. Now, zero product property only works when it's equal to 0 on one side. Okay, it's important you guys know that. Otherwise, you cannot use it. So as a result, what we have to do is we're going to go ahead and subtract 1 from both sides because we really want one side to be equal to 0. And when we do that, we're left with 6x squared plus 5x minus 1 equaling 0. It doesn't matter which side is equal to 0, but a helpful little strategy and a hint is you want your a value to be positive. Okay? Take my word for that. Now, what we're going to go ahead and do is just factor this like we normally have been seeing. So we're going to create our x and look at the product of a times c. So 6 times 1 gives us 6. And our b value that we're hoping for is 5. Then we're going to go ahead and create our list for that a times c, that product, so 6. And we notice that we have 1 and 6 and 2 and 3. Now, this question is a little bit tricky because both of these pairs kind of combine to give us that 5, right? So let's say, for example, we went with 1 and 6 just to start. Well, bringing that 5x down, we've got our 1x and our 6x. In order to be able to get that positive 5x, this would need to be a positive 6x, and this would need to be a negative 1x. Well, when I look at those products, when I look at, let's just go ahead and factor down just to see if we can actually break this down further. Equals 0. So notice how I just brought those numbers down. Factor by grouping. We can pull an x out of the first pair, so we have x times 6x minus 1. Looking at the second pair, I notice that I just have a 6x minus 1. They don't really have any factors. The only thing, though, that you can pull out is a positive 1. And now what we have is 6x minus 1 times this x plus 1 equals 0. Now, I always encourage, especially if you see these double pairs like that, to check and make sure that you got the correct values. At this point, you should, but we'll go ahead and just verify. So we have 6x squared plus 1x minus 1x minus 1. This is really the key right here. The fact that when you did your product of negative 1 and positive 1, when you did that, you ended up with that last term of negative 1, which is good because originally that's what you needed. Now, if you had gone with 2 and 3, this product right here would not have shown up as a negative 1. It would have actually shown up as a positive 1. And then it's how you know you would have chosen then the other pair, okay? And I won't go through like if you had done 2 and 3. If you really want to, you can go ahead by factoring like you've seen previously. But I promise you at that very end, you'll see a positive 1 there instead of the negative 1 that you need. Now, we're going to go ahead and use our 0 product property. So we'll set each one of these equal to 0. So 6x minus 1 equals 0. X plus 1 equals 0. And now we're going to go ahead and solve each one individually. So we're going to add 1 to both sides. Get 6x equals 1. Divide both sides by 6. So x comes out to be 1/6. Whereas the other one, we're going to subtract 1 from both sides and get x equals negative 1. So there they are. Those are our two solutions. Again, though, that is example 4 from our 4.4 set of notes.